I didn't grow up believing in monsters, not the kind that lived in the dark anyway. Out in Arkansas, where I spent most of my childhood summers, the dark wasn't something you feared. It was something you respected. The woods were thick, the lakes were deeper than they looked, and there were places people just didn't go. Blackwater Lake was one of those places. Nobody had a map of it, not a real one. You could find it if you followed the old logging road past the broken fence line, kept walking after the trail disappeared, and ignored the feeling that you were already somewhere you shouldn't be. It sat low between the hills like a wound that never healed, still, wide, and too quiet. The water didn't move, not even when the wind picked up. I first saw it when I was 12. My uncle took me out there. Though took isn't the right word, he didn't guide me, didn't explain anything. He just walked ahead, silent, like he'd done it 100 times before. And I followed because that's what you do when you're a kid and you don't know better. When we reached the edge, he stopped, didn't say a word, just stood there, staring at the water. I remembered thinking how wrong it looked. No ripples, no insects skimming the surface, no frogs, no birds, nothing. It was like the entire forest had agreed to stay away from that place. "Don't throw anything in," he said finally. His voice came out low, not scared, but careful. I picked up a rock anyway. I don't know why. Kids do things like that. You see still water. You want to break it. I tossed it in. The splash should have echoed, but it didn't. The sound just died, like something swallowed it before it could spread. I looked up at my uncle, expecting him to snap at me, but he didn't even react. He was still staring at the center of the lake, not where the rock landed, further out, like he was waiting for something. "Did you hear that?" he asked. I hadn't, not at first. Then it came, low, so low I thought it was in my chest, not my ears. A vibration more than a sound, like something shifting deep under the water. I felt it before I understood it, and then a ripple, just one, far from the shore. Perfect circle. Too perfect. Nothing broke the surface. Nothing came up. But whatever made it was big. I remember stepping back without thinking. My uncle didn't move. "Sometimes," he said, still staring, "it comes up closer." I didn't ask what it was. I think part of me already knew I didn't want the answer. We left after that. No explanation, no story, no warning. Just silence all the way back. That night I asked my grandmother about the lake. She didn't like that. I could tell the moment I said the name. Her hand stopped moving. "Who took you there?" "Uncle Ray." She nodded slowly, like that confirmed something she didn't want to believe. Then she said something I didn't understand at the time. "Water like that doesn't stay empty." I asked her what she meant. She didn't answer right away, just looked towards the window, out into the dark yard beyond the porch light, and then she said, "Some things don't live in the woods." She paused. "They wait under it." I didn't sleep much that night, not because I was scared, not yet, but because sometime after midnight I heard it again. That same low sound, not from the lake, from far away, carried through the trees, a deep, dragging roar, like something calling out from beneath the earth. And for the first time in my life, I realized something was down there, not dead, not buried, waiting. By the end of that summer, I knew two things for certain. Nobody in that town would talk about Blackwater Lake, and the ones who did never said enough. It started small. That's how these things always start. A dog went missing first. Belonged to a man named Carter who lived about a mile from the logging road. Big hunting dog, trained, obedient, the kind that doesn't just wander off. One night it was there, tied up behind the house. Next morning, gone. The chain was broken. That's what people kept repeating. Didn't snap. Didn't come loose. It was still hooked at the post, just stretched out across the dirt like something had pulled it tight and then cut it clean through. Not sliced, not torn, bitten. Carter showed it to a few people in town. I didn't see it myself, but I heard the descriptions. Edges crushed inward, metal wrapped, like it had been caught between teeth. After that, things didn't stay small. Goats started disappearing from a farm further up the hills, not all at once, one at a time. Every few nights, no tracks, no blood trails leading away, just absence. And then one morning they found what was left of one, near the edge of Blackwater Lake, not dragged there, placed. That's what had made it worse. It wasn't scattered like an animal attack, no tearing, no wild mess. The bones were arranged, too clean, laid out in a way that didn't make sense, like something had taken the time to strip it down carefully and then left it where it could be found. That's when people stopped pretending it was coyotes. I remember sitting on the porch when Uncle Ray came back from town that evening. He didn't say much, just grabbed a beer and sat down hard in his chair like something had been weighing on him all day. They found more, he muttered. My grandmother didn't ask what. She already knew. Where? He hesitated, then he said it. By the water. She closed her eyes for a second, slow, tired, like she'd heard it before. How many? 3 this time. That was the first time I felt it. Not fear, not exactly. More like something shifting into place, like all those small, strange details were starting to connect into something bigger, something real. Did anyone see anything? She asked. Uncle Ray shook his head. Just the sound. That again. The sound. It wasn't long before I heard it myself. Not from the house, not from the distance, closer. A few nights later I woke up to it. That same low, dragging vibration, like something too big to move quietly was shifting its weight somewhere it shouldn't be. I sat up in bed, heart already racing before my mind caught up. At first, I thought it was thunder. But there was no storm, no wind, no rain, just that sound. It rolled through the ground more than the air, deep, alive. I got out of bed without thinking, walked to the window, pushed it open just enough to listen. And that's when I realized. It wasn't coming from far away this time. It was closer, too close, somewhere beyond the tree line behind the house. I held my breath, listened, and then it stopped, just like that, cut off. No fading, no echo, like whatever made it had suddenly gone still, watching, waiting. I don't know how long I stood there. Could have been seconds, could have been minutes, but I remembered the feeling, clear as anything, the sense that if I leaned out just a little further, I'd see something I wasn't supposed to, something that had already seen me. I shut the window, locked it, and stepped back. That should have been the end of it. Just another strange night. Another story to add to the pile, but the next morning, they found something else, not an animal this time. Something worse. Tracks leading out of the woods, down toward the lake. People argued about them for hours. Some said they were fake, others said they were bear tracks distorted by the mud. But the ones who saw them up close, the ones who didn't speak much after, they all agreed on one thing. They weren't right. Too wide, too deep, and wrong in a way that's hard to explain unless you have seen something that doesn't belong in the world you understand. Each print looked like it had been pressed into the ground with impossible weight, webbed, clawed, and spaced far enough apart to mean one thing. Whatever made them was big. Bigger than anything that should have been moving through those woods without being seen in the direction they were heading, straight into Blackwater Lake. No prints coming out, just going in, like something had come from the forest, reached the edge, and slipped back under the water, gone, hidden, waiting again. That was the day people started locking their doors before sunset, not because they knew what was out there, but because deep down, they were starting to understand something far worse. Whatever was taking the animals, whatever was making that sound, it wasn't passing through. It lived there, and it was getting closer. The first person didn't disappear all at once. That would have been easier to understand, easier to explain. Instead, he just stopped being where he was supposed to be. His name was Daniel Hargrove, lived alone about 2 miles past Carter's place, closer to the hills than anyone else dared to settle. Quiet man, kept to himself, did odd jobs around town, fixed engines, helped during hunting season. The kind of man people notice only when he's gone. He was last seen just before sunset. Carter said he'd stopped by to ask about the missing dog, not in a worried way, more like curious, like he was trying to piece something together. That stuck with people later, the idea that maybe he already suspected something. That night, a storm rolled in, first real one of the summer. Thunder that shook the windows, rain that came down so hard it erased the world beyond the porch light. Roads turned to mud, trails disappeared. If anything happened out there, it got buried. By morning, the storm was gone. Clean sky, still air, and Daniel Hargrove didn't show up to town. At first, nobody panicked. Men like him disappeared for a day or two all the time, hunting, fixing something out in the woods, drinking somewhere they shouldn't be. But by the second day, people started looking. Uncle Ray went with them, didn't say anything to me when he left, just grabbed his jacket and the old flashlight he kept by the door. I remember watching him check the batteries twice. This wasn't like him. They found Daniel's truck about half a mile from Blackwater Lake, parked crooked, one tire sunk deep into the mud like he'd stopped in a hurry. Driver's door open. Keys still in the ignition. That was the first wrong thing. The second was the silence. The men who went out there said the woods felt empty, not quite like usual. Empty. No birds, no insects, just that same unnatural stillness I remembered from the lake, like the sound had been pulled out of the air. They spread out, calling his name, no answer, no movement, nothing, until one of them found the drag marks. They started near the truck, faint at first, then deeper, clearer, cutting through the mud in a straight line toward the trees, like something heavy had been pulled or something had tried to crawl away and failed. Uncle Ray didn't tell me this part himself. I heard it from someone else in town, late at night, voices low like saying it too loud might bring something back with it. They followed it, the man said. Shouldn't have, but they did. The trail didn't go far, just deep enough into the woods for the light to start fading, even in the middle of the day. That's where they found the first piece of him. Not all of him, just enough. A torn sleeve caught on a branch, mud soaked through with something darker, and below it, the ground was disturbed, not like struggle, not scattered, pressed down, flattened, like something enormous had been there, holding him in place. They didn't find a body, not then. What they found instead was the opening, a narrow split in the earth, half hidden by brush and rock, easy to miss unless you were looking straight at it. A cave, or at least the beginning of one. Cold air drifted out of it, not fresh, not clean, stale, wet, carrying a smell none of them could quite describe, but all of them remembered. Uncle Ray said later it reminded him of something old, not dead, just old, like it had been there longer than it should have been. They stood at the entrance for a long time, nobody wanting to go first, but also nobody wanting to turn their back on it, because by then they'd started hearing it again, faint. Deep inside, that same low vibration, not loud, not aggressive, just there, like breathing, slow, heavy, alive. One of the men, Elliot, I think, finally stepped forward, shined his flashlight inside, and that's when everything changed. The beam didn't go far, the cave swallowed it, but it went far enough to catch something on the ground. Bones, not scattered, not broken apart, arranged. The same way they found the goat, clean, deliberate. And there were more of them, not just animals, shapes that didn't belong to anything they hunted. Too long, too narrow, too human. Elliot dropped the flashlight, didn't say a word, just backed away like something had reached out and touched him. Nobody went in after that. They didn't need to, because as they stood there, frozen, staring into that dark, the sound stopped, just like before, cut off, sudden, complete. And in that silence, something shifted inside the cave, not loud, not fast, but enough to tell them one thing: they weren't alone, and whatever was in there knew they were standing at the entrance, watching, listening, waiting to see who would be stupid enough to come inside. They ran, didn't argue, didn't hesitate, just turned and left everything behind. The truck, the trail, the cave, all of it. When Uncle Ray got home that night, he didn't speak, didn't eat, just sat in the dark, staring at nothing. My grandmother didn't ask what he saw. She only asked one thing: "Did it hear you?" He didn't answer right away, just sat there, breathing slow. Then finally, he nodded and said, barely above a whisper, "It already knew." By the third day, it wasn't just a missing man anymore. It was a situation. Sheriff's office got involved first. 2 deputies and a man from the county who looked like he hadn't slept much in years. They came in quiet, asked questions no one really answered, and more wrote things down like it would make a difference. It didn't, because everyone already knew where this was leading, back to the lake. They organized a proper search that morning, not like the first one. This time it was structured, lines, radios, marked paths, men in boots and that hadn't touched real mud in years, flashlights that were too new, voices too loud for a place like that. Uncle Ray didn't want to go. I heard him arguing with my grandmother before sunrise. "Let them handle it," she said. "They won't," he replied. That was all. He went anyway. I wasn't supposed to follow, but I did. Kept my distance, stayed behind the trees, far enough not to be seen, close enough to hear. The woods felt wrong again, not just quiet, held, like everything was waiting for something to happen. They split into groups when they reached the outer line of the lake. One team moved toward the cave, another circled wide, checking for tracks, signs, anything they could write down and call evidence. The sheriff stayed near the shoreline. That's when Uncle Ray ended up. I watched from the trees as they stood there, looking out over Blackwater Lake like it might give them something back if they stared long enough. It didn't. The surface was the same as I remembered, flat, still, dead. One of the deputies picked up a branch and tossed it in. It hit the water, and again, no echo, no spread, just a soft impact that disappeared too quickly. Depth? One of them asked. Unknown, the sheriff said. That word hung there longer than it should have. Unknown. Like they hadn't even tried to measure it, or worse, like something had stopped them. They stayed along the edge, slow, careful, checking mud, scanning the tree line, speaking in low voices that carried just enough for me to catch pieces. No prints coming out. Same as before. How does something go in and not? Then one of them stopped, raised a hand. Everything went quiet. I couldn't see what he was looking at from where I stood, but I saw the way the others reacted, the shift, subtle, immediate. They moved closer to the water, all of them now, watching, waiting. I took a step forward without thinking, then another, careful, silent, until I could see it too. At first, nothing, just the surface, still. Then, a distortion, not a ripple, not movement the way you'd expect, more like the water itself was tightening, drawing inward, a slow, circular pull from forming near the center of the lake, too smooth, too controlled, like something beneath was rising, without breaking through. No bubbles, no splash, just that unnatural shift, and then the sound, closer than ever before, not distant, not carried through trees, right there, under the water, a deep, dragging roar that didn't belong in anything alive. It vibrated through the ground, through the trees, through my chest like it was trying to push something loose inside me. One of the deputies stumbled back. Another raised his weapon, pointing it at the lake like that would matter. Uncle Ray didn't move. He just stared, same way he had years ago, like he'd been waiting for this moment to come back. The water bulged, just slightly, enough to catch the light, enough to show shape, something long, massive, coiling just beneath the surface. You couldn't see details, no eyes, no face, just the suggestion of something too big to fit in the space it occupied. And then it stopped. The movement, the sound, everything gone. The lake flattened out again, perfect, like nothing had ever been there. Nobody spoke, nobody moved, because they all felt it. That same thing I felt standing there behind the trees. The certainty, not a guess, not fear, something colder, clearer. Whatever was under that water had come up, not to attack, not to hunt, just to look, to see who was standing at its edge, and now it knew. One of the men finally broke the silence. "We're done here." No argument, no second opinions, just a quiet, immediate understanding that whatever they were dealing with wasn't something they were equipped to handle. They pulled back, fast. No more shoreline checks, no more cave, no more calling Daniel's name. By the time they reached the tree line, it was like the whole operation had collapsed in on itself. Radios went silent, plans disappeared, and the sheriff, the man who was supposed to have answers, just shook his head once and said something I'll never forget. "We're not searching anymore." Someone asked why. He didn't look back at the lake when he answered, just kept walking and said, "Because whatever took him is still here." That night, the woods didn't go quiet. For the first time since all of this started, they made noise. Not normal noise, not birds or insects, something else, low, distant, echoing from different directions, more than one, not loud enough to locate, not clear enough to understand, but enough to feel, enough to know. The sound wasn't coming from just one place anymore, and as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to those distant, shifting roars bleed through the dark, one thought settled in my mind, slow, heavy, impossible to ignore. What if there wasn't just one thing in that lake? What if whatever they'd seen under the surface was only part of it? After that day, nobody went near Blackwater Lake, not officially, not in groups, not even out of curiosity. It wasn't a decision people talked about. It just happened, like the entire town had reached the same conclusion at the same time. Stay away. But staying away didn't stop it. If anything, that's when it started getting closer. The first sighting near the houses happened 2 nights later. Mrs. Delaney lived at the far edge of town, closest to the tree-lined old house, weak porch light, the kind that flickers just enough to make shadows look like they're moving even when they're not. She said she woke up to a sound outside her window, not the roar, something quieter, wet, dragging, like something heavy being pulled slowly across the ground. At first, she thought it was rainwater running off the roof, until she realized there was no rain. She got up, walked to the window, pulled the curtain just enough to look out, and froze. She didn't scream, didn't move, didn't even breathe, from what she said later, because whatever was out there was already looking at her. She couldn't describe it properly, nobody ever could, not fully, but she said one thing that stuck. It wasn't all there, that's how she put it, like she wasn't seeing the whole thing, just a part of it, a section of something longer, too long, coiled between the trees where the porch light barely reached. She said the skin looked wrong, not scales like a snake, not fur, something in between, thick, uneven, almost rubber-like, and wet, always wet, like it had just come out of the water and hadn't had time to dry. She only saw a portion of it, a curve, a mass, something that moved just slightly as it shifted its weight, and when it did, she heard it, that low, internal sound, not loud, not aggressive, just there, alive, right outside her window. She dropped the curtain, backed away, didn't look again, didn't call anyone, didn't move until morning. When she told people, nobody laughed. That was the worst part. Nobody even tried, because by then, too many things had already happened, and too many people had heard the same sound. That same night, Carter heard it too. Different place, same thing, dragging, closer than it should have been. He stepped out onto his porch with a shotgun, expecting to scare off whatever animal had been circling his property for weeks. He didn't get that far. The moment he opened the door, the sound stopped, instantly, like it had been waiting for him to do exactly that. He stood there in the doorway, gun raised, eyes scanning the dark, and for a second everything felt normal again, still, empty. Then something moved, not in front of him, to the side, Fast, too fast. A shift in the shadows that didn't match anything human or animal. He turned just in time to catch it disappearing between the trees. Not the whole body, just a section, a long, thick portion of something that shouldn't have been able to move that quietly. He said it didn't slither, didn't crawl, it glided, like its weight didn't belong to the ground it was touching. And where it pressed, where it passed, the grass didn't spring back, it stayed down, pressed, like something far heavier had moved through than what he'd actually seen. He fired once, didn't aim, didn't think, just reacted. The shot echoed, loud, sharp, real, and for a moment everything held still. Then, that sound came back, not from the trees, not from the ground, from everywhere, a deep, layered roar that seemed to come from multiple directions at once. Not one voice, more than one. Carter went back inside, locked the door, didn't come out again that night. By morning, people started noticing something else. The distance between the lake and the town didn't feel as far anymore, not physically, but in a way that's harder to explain. Like whatever boundary had been there before had been crossed. Uncle Ray didn't say much that day, but I caught him looking toward the woods more than once, listening, waiting, like he was trying to hear something before it happened. "It's not staying in the water," he said finally. My grandmother didn't respond. She didn't need to, because we all understood what that meant. If it wasn't staying in the lake, then it was moving, expanding, learning the ground, and that night, I saw it, not clearly, not enough to understand what I was looking at, but enough. I woke up again to that same sound, closer than ever, right behind the house. I didn't go to the window this time. I knew better, but something pulled me there anyway. Slow, careful. I stepped toward the glass, looked out, and at first, nothing. Just darkness. Then the trees shifted, not from wind, not from anything natural. Something moved between them, low, massive, silent except for that faint internal vibration that seemed to pulse through the air instead of traveling across it. I focused, tried to make sense of what I was seeing, and then, for a split second, it passed through a thin strip of moonlight, just enough to catch texture, not scales, not skin, something thick, layered, uneven, and beneath it, movement, like muscle sliding under something too tight to contain it. I didn't see ahead, didn't see where it began or ended, because it didn't fit inside my view. It just kept going, longer than anything I had ever seen, long enough that my brain refused to process it as a single creature, and then it was gone, slipped back into the trees, silent, leaving nothing behind but that fading vibration in the air. I stepped back from the window, slow, careful, because by then I understood something the others were only starting to realize. This wasn't just something that came out of the lake. It wasn't just passing through the woods. It was moving between both, water, land, darkness, like it all belonged to it. And the worst part, the part that stayed with me as I lay back down, staring into the dark, trying to slow my breathing, wasn't what I saw. It was what I didn't, because if that was only part of it, then the rest of it was still out there, somewhere just beyond the trees, or worse, still in the water, waiting for night to fall again. The first attack didn't happen in the woods. That's what made it real. Up until then, everything could still be explained away if you tried hard enough. Missing animals, sounds in the distance, shadows moving where they shouldn't, but this happened in the open, in a place people thought was still safe. It was Carter, same man who lost the dog, same man who fired into the trees. He didn't talk much after that night, but something about him had changed. Not fear. He'd always been the kind of man who didn't scare easy. This was different. He was watching, all the time, like he expected something to come back for him. 3 nights later, it did. He was out back just after sunset, fixing part of the fence line the storm had knocked loose. Still light enough to see, but that in-between hour where shadows stretch too long and everything starts to blur together. He said he heard it before anything else. Not the roar, not that deep, dragging sound. Something sharper, closer. A wet inhale right behind him. He turned, and for the first time, someone saw it clearly. Not all of it, but enough. He said the head came out of the trees low to the ground, sliding forward in a way that didn't match its size, too smooth, too controlled. The shape was wrong, long but not like a snake, thicker, heavier. The front of it widened slightly, like muscle built around bone that wasn't meant to be seen from the outside. And then, the mouth, not a clean jaw, but something that opened the way animals do. It split. That's the word he used. Split wider than it should have, revealing rows of thick, uneven teeth, not sharp like fangs, but heavy, crushing, built to break, built to hold, and at the edges, something else, curved protrusions. Not horns exactly, not tusks either, something in between. Like bone forcing its way outward from inside the skull. He didn't see eyes. That's what shook him the most. No reflection, no shape, just a smooth, dark surface where something should have been looking back at him. But he knew it could see him. He felt it, locked onto him in a way that didn't need sight. It lunged, fast, too fast for something that size. Carter barely had time to bring the shotgun up before it hit him. Not a full strike, more like a test. The side of its head slammed into him with enough force to throw him off his feet and send the gun spinning into the dirt. He said the ground shook when it moved, like its weight didn't match the space it occupied. He tried to crawl, didn't get far, because it came down again, closer this time. The head lowering, mouth opening just enough for him to see how deep it went. Not just teeth, darkness behind them, endless, like the inside of it didn't stop where it should have. That's when he heard it, up close, not a roar, not loud, a low, steady vibration coming from inside its body, like something alive was echoing through it, or multiple things moving together beneath the surface. He froze, completely, and for a moment it didn't strike. It hovered there, studying him, not like prey, like something else, something familiar. Then it pulled back, slow, deliberate, the mouth closing, the head shifting slightly, like it was adjusting its position or thinking. And that's when Carter understood something that none of us had yet. It wasn't trying to kill him, not right away. It was deciding. Then, from somewhere in the distance, another sound. Same tone, same deep vibration, but separate, farther out, answering. The thing in front of him stopped, lifted its head slightly, listening, and then, without warning, it turned, slid back into the trees, gone. Just like that. No chase, no second strike, nothing. Carter lay there for a long time before he moved. When they found him, he was still in the dirt, alive, but not the same. He told the story once, only once, sitting in his kitchen, hands shaking just enough to notice, voice low like saying it louder might bring it back. "They're not animals," he said. Nobody argued, because by then, we all knew. He swallowed hard before he said the next part. "They don't hunt like animals." That stayed with me more than anything else, but because it lined up with everything we'd seen. The way the bones were arranged, the way it didn't kill him, the way it looked at him. This wasn't random. This wasn't instinct. This was something else. Something that chose. Something that understood. That night, the sounds came again, closer, more frequent. Not one, more than one, moving through the trees, circling. And as I lay there, because listening to those steps, those deep, layered vibrations shift around the house, one thought kept repeating in my mind, slow, heavy, impossible to ignore. It wasn't coming closer by accident. It was wandering. It wasn't wandering. It wasn't lost. It was mapping, learning, testing, and sooner or later, it was going to decide again. People like to say fear keeps you away from things. That's not always true. Sometimes it pulls you closer. By the end of that week, everyone in town knew what was out there. They just didn't agree on what to do about it. Most chose silence, lock the doors, stay inside, pretend the woods ended where the light did. But a few couldn't let it sit. Couldn't accept that something was moving between the lake and their homes, choosing when to appear, deciding who lived and who didn't. Uncle Ray was one of them. I knew it the moment I saw him loading the truck before sunrise. Not hunting gear, not supplies, rope, lanterns, extra batteries, things you take when you're not planning to come back quickly. "Don't," my grandmother said from the porch. He didn't answer, just kept working. "You've seen enough," she added. That made him stop, just for a second. And then he said something that didn't sound like him. "If we leave it alone," he paused, looked toward the trees, "it won't leave us alone." There were 4 of them, Uncle Ray, Carter, still bruised, still shaken, but there anyway, Elliot, the one who dropped the flashlight at the cave, and a man I didn't know well, quiet, didn't speak much, just stood there like he'd already made up his mind about something. They didn't ask for permission, didn't tell anyone else, because deep down, they knew nobody would follow. I wasn't supposed to go, but I did. Again. Kept further back this time, far enough that I almost lost them more than once as they moved through the trees, heading the same direction we all swore we wouldn't go again. Back to the lake, back to the cave. The woods felt worse than before, not just empty, tense, like something had changed. The air itself felt heavier, harder to breathe, and every now and then, that sound, faint, distant, moving, not fixed in one place anymore. They reached the cave by mid-morning. I stayed hidden behind a cluster of rocks further up the slope, just close enough to see the entrance. It looked smaller than I remembered, narrow, unassuming, like something that shouldn't matter. But the moment they stepped near it, the temperature dropped. I could see it in the way their breath shifted, subtle but there, cold air spilling out again, that same smell, wet, stale, old. They didn't hesitate this time, no long pause, no argument, like they all understood if they stopped moving, they wouldn't go in at all. Lanterns lit, flashlights on, one by one, they disappeared inside, and for a while, Nothing happened, no sound, no movement, just the trees, the wind, the kind of normal that feels wrong after everything else. I almost left, almost convinced myself that maybe this time there would be nothing. Then it came, not from the lake, not from the woods, from below. A low, distant vibration that didn't travel through the air, through the ground, through the rock, through everything. I felt it under my hands before I heard it, faint but steady, alive. And then a light flickered inside the cave, quick, erratic, like someone moving too fast. A voice followed. I couldn't make out the words, just the tone. Sharp, urgent, wrong. Then another voice, louder, panicked, and then silence. Then total, complete, the kind that doesn't fade in. It just arrives all at once. I waited, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Seconds passed, then a minute, then more. No one came out, no movement, nothing. And just as I started to think maybe they weren't coming back, something shifted inside the cave, slow, heavy, not footsteps, not human, something else, something that didn't need to rush, the sound of weight moving where there shouldn't be space for it. And then a shape appeared at the entrance. I leaned forward without thinking, trying to see, hoping, but it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't all of them. It was one, Carter. He stumbled out into the light like he'd forgotten how to walk, face pale, clothes wet, not with water but something darker. He didn't look back, didn't call for the others, just kept moving until he collapsed in the dirt a few feet from the entrance. I almost ran to him, almost broke cover, but something stopped me. Instinct. That same feeling I'd had before. Don't get closer, don't make a sound, because behind him, inside the cave, something moved again. Not fast, not loud, but enough to show depth. The light from the entrance stretched inward just far enough to reveal that what should have been possible. The cave didn't stop, it didn't narrow, it opened, wider, deeper, far beyond what that small opening could have led to, and along the ground, shapes, long, layered, curved, not rocks, not debris, something else, something that looked like it had been there a long time, something that might not have been still. I saw one of them shift, just slightly, like muscle tightening under something too thick to break through, and then that sound, close, closer than ever. Not from outside, from inside the earth itself. A deep, dragging roar that didn't echo because it didn't need to. It filled the space completely, and in that moment, everything made sense. The lake, the movements, the sounds coming from different directions. This wasn't where it lived, not fully. This was just an opening, a way in, a way out. Carter groaned behind me, dragging himself weakly through the dirt, still alive, still breathing. But whatever he saw down there, he didn't bring it back with him. He left it, because it was too big, too deep, too wrong to carry into the world above. I stayed there longer than I should have, frozen, staring into that impossible dark, until the light shifted and the shape inside moved again, closer, just enough to remind me it knew where the exit was, and if it wanted to, it could come out. I ran, didn't stop, didn't look back, because by then I understood something none of us had fully realized before. Blackwater Lake wasn't the center of it. It was just where we noticed it first. Whatever lived beneath that place didn't belong to the water. It belonged to something much deeper, something that stretched far beyond the lake, beyond the woods, maybe even beyond the town itself. And we hadn't found it. We'd just found one of the places it chose to surface. Carter didn't speak for a long time. They brought him back just before sunset, half carried, half dragged, his boots leaving streaks in the dirt like he wasn't fully aware of where he was anymore. I stayed quiet, watched from the corner as they laid him down inside his house, voices low, movements careful like he might break if they handled him wrong. Uncle Ray wasn't with them. That's what everyone noticed first. Then Elliot, then the fourth man. 3 went in, 1 came back. No one said it out loud, but it sat there anyway, heavy, unavoidable. Carter's eyes were open the whole time, not unfocused, not unconscious, just fixed, like he was still looking at something none of us could see. They tried asking him questions. At first, nothing. Then slowly, he started to breathe differently, shallow, uneven, like something inside him was catching up. "It's not a cave," he said, barely above a whisper. Someone leaned closer. "What is it?" He swallowed hard, tried to sit up, failed. "It goes down," he said. "Not deep, not the way people mean when they say deep. Worse, wrong deep." That's how he described it, like depth that doesn't belong to distance, like the space itself keeps opening to matter, no matter how far you go. They kept going, he continued. They thought maybe it was just a chamber, maybe it opened into something they could map, measure. He let out a weak, broken laugh. They were wrong. The room stayed quiet. No one interrupted because every word felt like something fragile, like if you pushed too hard, it would stop coming out altogether. There were bones, he said, not just near the entrance. He shook his head slowly. Everywhere, stacked, layered, not random, organized, not in patterns we understand, but not chaos either. Something in between, like they meant something to whatever put them there. And the walls, he paused. His hand trembled slightly as he lifted it, like he was trying to feel something that wasn't there anymore. They weren't rock all the way through. Nobody spoke. They changed, he said. The deeper we went, the less it looked like a cave. He swallowed again, harder this time. Parts of it were smooth, not carved, not worn down, just formed, like something had passed through it over and over again, shaping it, not digging, not cutting, moving, through. He closed his eyes for a second, and when he opened them again, something behind them had shifted. They heard it first, he said quietly. Ray and Elliot. Uncle Ray. That name landed hard in the room. They said it was coming from below us. He shook his head again. No, not below. His voice dropped. Inside. That word struck. Inside. Not under, not behind. Inside the space itself. They wanted to turn back, he continued. All of us did. Another pause, longer this time. They didn't let us. Someone finally spoke. Who? Carter didn't answer right away because he didn't need to. We all knew. They moved, he said. Not one. More. That confirmed it. Everything we'd been afraid to say out loud. There were tunnels, he whispered, branching out, splitting, crossing each other. He looked toward the floor, like he could see through it, like he knew exactly what was under there. They're not just under the lake. That hit harder than anything else. They're under everything. The room felt smaller after that, tighter, like the ground itself had shifted beneath us. "What happened to the others?" someone asked. Carter's breathing changed again, faster, uneven. "They went ahead," he said. "Just a little further." He swallowed. "I told them not to." His voice cracked slightly. "They didn't listen." Of course they didn't. That's how this always goes. They saw something. That was it. The moment, the turning point. His hands clenched slightly against the blanket. "I didn't see it clearly, but they did." "What?" someone asked. Carter's eyes lifted, slow, deliberate, and for the first time since he'd come back, there was fear in them. Not panic, not shock, something deeper, something that had settled in and refused to leave. "They stopped moving," he said. Both of them just stood there, like something had taken hold of them. Not physically, something else. "They weren't looking at the ground," he continued. "They weren't looking ahead." He swallowed again. "They looked like they were listening." That word again. Listening. To what? Someone asked. Carter shook his head slowly. "I don't know, but it wasn't us." Silence filled the room, heavy, suffocating, and then, he whispered, "They stepped forward." They didn't run, they didn't fight, they just went, like they were answering something, following something. "They disappeared into the dark," Carter said. "Just gone." His voice dropped lower and the sound got louder. That deep, dragging vibration, the one we'd all heard. But down there, he shook his head again. It wasn't just a sound, it was layered, like multiple things moving at once. Different directions, different depths, more than one. Again, always back to that. "I ran," he said finally. "I didn't wait. I didn't look back." His eyes shifted towards the door, like he still expected something to come through it. I could hear them behind me. That made everything freeze. "Ray," Carter nodded once, "and Elliot." Hope, just for a second. Small, fragile. Then Carter finished the sentence. But it wasn't them anymore. That ended it. Whatever chance there was, gone. "They were moving wrong," he said. "Too fast, too smooth. Like something had learned how to move through them." No one spoke after that. No one knew what to say, because by then, the truth wasn't hiding anymore. It wasn't just a creature, it wasn't just something in the lake, it wasn't even just something underground. It was a system, a network. Tunnels stretching out beneath everything, something moving through them, living in them, using them, and sometimes coming up, not to hunt, not to feed, to choose. That night, I didn't go near the window, didn't listen for the sounds, didn't need to, because now I understood something far worse than anything I'd seen or heard before. We weren't being surrounded from the outside. It was already here, under us, around us, moving through places we couldn't see, and if what Carter said was true, then Blackwater Lake was just one of many doors. After Carter spoke, something changed. Not in the woods, not in the lake, in the town. Up until that point, people still believed in distance. Stay inside, lock the doors, keep the lights on. Like walls meant something, like wood and nails could hold back whatever was moving out there. That belief didn't last long. The first disappearance from inside a home happened the very next night. It was the Miller house, right in the middle of town. Not near the tree line, not near the lake, safe, or at least, that's what everyone thought. There were 3 of them, Mr. Miller, his wife, and their daughter. Only two were there by morning. No signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no open doors, nothing disturbed, except the floor. That's what people kept coming back to. Not the walls, not the locks. The floor, the boards in the living room had shifted, not broken, not shattered, pressed upward from below. Just enough to warp, just enough to create space. Like something had pushed against them, tested them, and then found a way through. Mrs. Miller said she didn't hear anything at first. No footsteps, no voices, no struggle. Just a sound, low, faint, familiar. That same deep vibration we'd all come to recognize. But this time, it wasn't outside. It was under the house. She thought it was thunder, distant, rolling through the ground until it didn't fade, until it stayed, growing slightly stronger, closer. She got out of bed, walked into the hallway, called her husband's name. No answer. That's when she heard it again, right beneath her feet, a slow, dragging shift, like something large adjusting its position in a space too small to hold it. She said the floor felt warm. That part didn't make sense to anyone, not at first. Warm, not cold like the cave, not wet like the lake, warm, alive. She stepped back, and that's when it happened. The boards in the living room lifted, not violently, not all at once, just a slow, controlled rise, like pressure building underneath, and then they dropped, hard, back into place. The sound echoed through the house, sharp, final. She screamed, ran to her daughter's room, empty, bed untouched, window closed, nothing missing, except her. Mr. Miller was found in the kitchen, on the floor, alive, but barely, same as Carter, breathing, eyes open, not present. When he finally spoke, hours later, he said the same thing. It came from below, not through the door, not through the window, from beneath them. They don't need to come in anymore, he said. They're already under us. That confirmed it. Everything Carter had told us, everything we didn't want to believe, the tunnels, the movement, the way it shifted between places without ever being seen. It wasn't circling the town, it wasn't approaching. It had already spread beneath it, and now it could come up anywhere. The sheriff tried to keep things under control, told people to stay together, to keep lights on, to report anything unusual. But even he didn't sound convinced anymore, because what do you do when the threat isn't outside, when it doesn't need doors, when it doesn't care about walls? That night nobody slept. Lights stayed on in every house. Voices stayed low. People gathered in groups, waiting, listening for anything. And it came, not all at once, not in one place, everywhere. The sound, that deep, layered vibration, but this time it moved, not through the trees, not across the land, through the ground. You could feel it shifting beneath your feet, passing under one house, then another, like something was tracing the town from below, mapping it, choosing, testing. And every time it paused, every time the sound stopped beneath a house, everyone held their breath, waiting to see if it would come up. Sometimes it did, not fully, not like before, just enough. A slight lift in the floor, a shift in the earth, a presence right beneath, close enough to feel, close enough to know it was there, listening. And then it would move on, leaving nothing but silence and fear. I stayed in my room, didn't go near the window, didn't move more than I had to, but I felt it. At one point, it passed directly under our house. I didn't need to hear it. I felt it in the bed. A slow, steady vibration rising up through the frame, through the floor, into my bones. I held my breath, didn't move, didn't think, just waited. And then it stopped, right beneath me. The silence that followed was worse than the sound, because in that moment, I knew it wasn't passing through. It was there, under me, still, waiting. deciding. Seconds stretched, too long, too heavy, and then, slowly, the vibration returned, fading, moving away, toward another house, another place, another choice. I exhaled without realizing I'd been holding it. But the relief didn't come because by then there was nothing left to hold on to. No safe place, no distance, no barrier, just ground, and whatever moved beneath it. And as the sound drifted further away into the dark, one thought stayed with me. Clear, cold, unavoidable. It wasn't hunting, not the way we understood it. It was selecting. By the next day, the town was fractured, not physically, not yet, but mentally. Families gathered what they could carry, trucks lined the roads, people whispered in doorways, in alleys, in the grocery store, everyone trying to convince themselves they were leaving for safety, for sanity. But deep down, they all knew there was nowhere to run. Even leaving didn't mean escape. Uncle Ray called a meeting at the edge of the woods, the place where the lake opened into the trees. The cave was closer than anyone admitted, but he insisted. We had to destroy the entrance, even if it's just a delay, he said. Even if it doesn't stop it, it has to feel the resistance. We gathered whatever we could, rocks, boards, barrels, fire, gasoline, anything that could collapse or seal the mouth of that impossible dark. I stayed behind with Carter, weak, bruised, silent. He didn't argue, didn't volunteer to go, just watched, eyes fixed somewhere past the trees, past the lake, past the sky. They arrived at the cave, lanterns held high, torches lit, rocks dropped into the mouth, gasoline poured, flames struck, and for a moment it seemed to work. The fire roared. Smoke filled the night, flames licked the stone, the earth shook as rocks crashed down. Then it came. The first tremor was subtle, low, under the feet. We didn't panic. Earth moves, fire makes it crack, but it didn't stop. The second tremor was stronger. The ground shivered beneath the rocks, lanterns shook, flames bent sideways. Then the sound came, not from the trees, not from the lake, from beneath, from the tunnels. It was loud, layered, a vibration you could feel in your teeth, in your chest, in the soles of your boots. Something was moving, and it was angry. The rocks we threw into the cave didn't even scratch it, and then we saw it. A portion of it, just a fraction, slipped out from under the debris, a head, massive, wider than the entrance itself. The split mouth, the layered teeth, the dark, unseeing eyes, staring, observing, calculating, not attacking, not yet, just letting us know the resistance was noted, not ignored, not forgotten. The ground around us quacked again. One of the men stumbled, another screamed, rocks tumbled, dust and fire mixed into a choking cloud. Then the earth cracked, just a small fissure at first, but it spread, slow, deliberate, right beneath our feet. A hand, a limb, something thick and layered pushed upward through the gap, smooth, rubber-like, wet, too long, too large, too wrong. And then the sound multiplied, not one, not two, but dozens of vibrations at once under the ground, coming up, moving toward us, filling the air with impossible weight. We ran, not away from the cave, not toward safety, just ran, away from the trembling ground, away from the sound, away from the pressure that made the earth itself feel alive. Carter couldn't run far. He collapsed behind a fallen tree. I grabbed him, pulled him forward, heart pounding, dust in my lungs. The firelight flickered across the lake, across the trees, across the dark, vibrating ground. And I knew it wasn't contained. It hadn't been slowed. It had only been noticed, and it remembered. Night fell like a lid over the town, not just ordinary darkness, but a heavy, suffocating black that seemed to press down through the roads, the houses, the trees, Smoke from the burnt cave entrance still lingered in the air, carrying the acrid scent of fire and fear. The vibration started again, not subtle this time, not a low hum under the feet. It was everywhere. The ground pulsed in waves, walls shook, glass rattled and windows, dogs barked, but their sounds were swallowed almost instantly. People ran from house to house, dragging children, shouting for loved ones who weren't there. And then it came above ground, not fully, not the whole body, but portions, thick, layered, serpentine, emerging from cracks in the streets, from shallow depressions in lawns, from the very foundations of houses. The Gowrow. It had learned. It knew where we were, where we clustered, where we panicked, and it chose its approach, slow, watching, testing, calculating. In the first street, it lifted a section of asphalt, not like breaking it, not with brute force, like the ground was liquid, pliable, and through the gap came a long, smooth segment of its body, slithering, almost rolling, coiling itself as it emerged, towering over the streetlights. People screamed, fled. Some didn't make it past the first block. The Gowrow's head, split jaw, layered teeth, unseeing black eyes, turned, scanning, assessing. It didn't chase everyone, only selected those it wanted. I remember seeing a group of huddle in the town square. Kids clung to their parents. Flames from abandoned cars lit the foggy air, and through the center of the square, a portion of the Gowrow's body emerged, its length twisting impossibly, defying the laws of physics, curling across the ground, then snapping upward like a whip. It didn't roar, didn't need to. The vibration alone was enough to knock people off their feet, enough to make windows shatter, enough to make hearts stop. And then the smell hit. Not just wet, not just stale, not just earth, something older, something primal, like deep water and rot and metal and something I can't describe. The Gowrow wasn't hunting in the way animals do. It wasn't hungry. It was assessing, controlling, selecting. By midnight, the town was fractured. Fires burned, roads were blocked by debris or panic-driven crashes, and from beneath, the tunnels responded. The ground moved in waves. Sections of streets lifted. Manholes popped open like doors. The Gowrow's presence pulsed through the veins of the town like an electrical current, showing that nowhere was untouched. I stayed on the roof of my house, watching, heart hammering, eyes scanning the undulating streets. The vibration under the floorboards matched the rhythm outside. The tunnels were alive. The Gowrow was everywhere, and in the distance, at the edge of town near the lake, a single, massive shadow rose, head tilted, split jaw slightly open. It wasn't moving forward yet. It was observing, letting its network of tunnels test the town's defenses, watching her panic. Then, as if it really realized we had seen it, it shifted. The water of the lake rippled violently, trees bent without wind, the ground beneath me shivered, and I knew it could reach anywhere. Anywhere. No house was safe, no street, no cellar, no hilltop, no distance from water or woods. The Gowrow had mapped us all, and it had chosen how to respond. By dawn, the first screams would echo from places no one thought it could reach, and by then we'd understand the final truth. The Gowrow doesn't just live under the lake, it lives under us, it lives with us, and it has already decided who will remain. By sunrise, the town was unrecognizable, not burned, not flooded, not torn apart by wind, but fractured, silent, empty. The streets were littered with abandoned belongings, cars left running, doors wide open, toys scattered on lawns, the scent of smoke and fear lingering in the cold morning air. I made my way cautiously through the town, heart hammering, eyes scanning for movement. Every floorboard, every crack in the pavement seemed alive. I knew it could reach me at any moment, and yet I had to see, I had to know. The lake was still, too still. The fire from the cave smoldered but revealed nothing, only ash, smoke, and that faint, constant vibration that ran through the ground like a pulse. Carter was gone, Uncle Ray was gone, Elliot, the fourth man, they had vanished too. Nobody remained from the group that had dared to confront it. Only traces, footprints leading into streets where the asphalt had lifted, marks on the trees where the Gowrow's body had pressed against them. I walked up toward the town square, the center, the place where it had revealed itself most fully. And then I saw it. A single, massive segment coiled atop the fountain, its black, rubber-like scales glistened with wetness. The split jaw opened slightly, revealing rows upon rows of layered teeth that seemed to stretch impossibly deep. Its eyes, if you could call them that, didn't see me, not yet, but I could feel them, feeling my presence, calculating, choosing. The ground shivered beneath me. I fell to my knees. It didn't move forward, not yet. It didn't need to, because it had already reached me, already reached the rest of the town, already reached every hidden tunnel, every secret passage, every space beneath the streets. I realized then the truth no one wanted to admit. We weren't fighting it. We weren't surviving it. We were part of it. The Gowrow didn't hunt for food. It didn't hunt for territory. It hunted for order, selection, control. And in its design, the town had already been mapped, assessed, decided. I crawled forward, my hands brushing ash and debris. I couldn't see movement, but I could feel it. The low, layered vibration pulsed through the ground in patterns I couldn't comprehend. It was alive beneath every footstep. It knew where I would go before I did. I reached the fountain and looked down. The water rippled, unnaturally still, and then the surface broke, just slightly. A thick, scaled tail emerged, curling around the stone basin, holding it in place like it owned the world. I wanted to scream, I wanted to run, but running didn't matter. The tunnels beneath the town had already done their work. And as the sun rose higher, casting light over the twisted, empty streets, I understood. The Gowrow doesn't emerge for confrontation. It emerges to remind us it had always been beneath us, around us, with us, waiting, choosing. The town would never recover, not truly. Survivors would scatter, but no distance could save them, because the Gowrow doesn't exist above ground. It exists beneath, inside, and in the spaces we refuse to see. And sometimes that's enough. I backed away slowly, heart racing, knowing I couldn't look back, not at the streets, not at the fountain, not at the lake, because if I did, I would see it again, and I couldn't survive twice. The Gowrow returned to the shadows beneath the town, stretching through tunnels, moving in ways impossible to track, leaving nothing but the haunting memory of its presence, a reminder that the earth beneath us isn't empty, and that some creatures don't belong to the surface world at all. We're just its audience, and sometimes its prey. Gowrow's story ends not with a battle, not with a hero, but with understanding, and the lingering terror that wherever we walk, whatever we build, whatever we believe is safe, it is never truly ours. The Gowrow is already beneath us, always.